Hello, and welcome to Expand Your Mind, the podcast where we explore the events, ideas, and stories that challenge our perspectives. I'm James.
And I'm Martha. It's great to have you with us.
Today, we're heading out to sea. We're delving into a story of high-stakes adventure, incredible prestige, and ultimately profound tragedy. It's a story about the awesome, unforgiving power of nature and the painful but vital lessons humanity has learned from it.
We're talking about the 1979 Fastnet race, an event that started with celebration but ended as the largest peacetime rescue operation in modern history, forever changing the world of offshore sailing.
So, for listeners who might not be familiar, Martha, what exactly is the Fastnet race?
It's one of the world's most famous and challenging offshore yacht races. It's held every 2 years, and the course is a formidable 605 nautical miles that's over 1,100 kilometers. It starts from Cowes on the Isle of Wight, sails west down the English Channel, crosses the often treacherous Celtic Sea to the Fastnet Rock off the coast of Ireland, and then turns back to finish in Plymouth.
And in 1979, this was the event. The race was the grand finale of the Admiral's Cup, the unofficial world championship of offshore racing, so the stakes were incredibly high. A record-breaking fleet of 303 yachts from small family cruisers to elite racing machines gathered at the starting line on Saturday, August 11th. There was a real sense of excitement and prestige in the air.
Absolutely, and there was a weather forecast, of course. It predicted gales for the sea area south of Ireland, which for these experienced sailors was challenging, but not necessarily catastrophic. No one, not the sailors, not the forecasters, anticipated what was truly brewing out in the Atlantic.
The first 2 days of the race were fairly typical, but as the fleet pushed out into the open waters of the Celtic Sea on Monday, August 13th, the situation began to change, and it changed with terrifying speed. The low-pressure system that was forecast to bring gales underwent something meteorologists call explosive cyclogenesis.
It sounds dramatic, and it was. It's sometimes called a weather bomb. The atmospheric pressure plummeted, creating a storm of a ferocity that was almost unheard of in that region. The winds didn't just become a gale, they screamed to a sustained force 10 on the Beaufort scale, with gusts hitting force 11.
And to put that in perspective for everyone, force 10 is a violent storm with wind speeds over 60 miles per hour. Force 11 is just one step below a hurricane. But it wasn't just the wind, it was the waves.
The waves were the true terror. In the shallowing waters of the Celtic Sea, the storm whipped up monstrous, steep, and chaotic waves. Survivors described them as mountainous, rogue waves, and liquid avalanches. Official reports estimated they were consistently reaching 50 to 60 feet high.
Imagine a 5- or 6-story building made of water not just swelling up, but breaking and crashing on you in the dead of night.
The fleet was completely overwhelmed. The modern boat designs of the era, often wide with light displacement, were fast, but they proved terrifyingly vulnerable. Many boats were knocked down, which means the wind forced them over until their masts were in the water.
Worse still, many were fully capsized, turned completely upside down. Some would self-right, often demasted and with their interiors destroyed. Others remained inverted, their crews trapped inside or washed into the raging sea. Cockpit windows were smashed, rudders were torn off, and electronic equipment was fried by the salt water.
Lifelines and safety harnesses, the very equipment designed to save you, became a double-edged sword. They kept sailors from being washed overboard, but in a capsize, they could trap them underwater beneath the inverted hull. And the life rafts? Some were torn from their mountings before they could be deployed. Others failed to inflate properly or were impossible to board in the chaos. The situation for hundreds of people was absolutely desperate.
And that's when the calls for help began. A deluge of Mayday signals flooded the airwaves, and what followed was an extraordinary response. It became the largest rescue operation in peacetime history.
The scale is just staggering. It involved the British Royal Navy, Royal Air Force helicopters, the Irish Naval Service, and Air Corps. RNLI lifeboats from both Britain and Ireland, Dutch naval ships, and numerous commercial vessels that diverted to help. For 36 hours, they battled the same hurricane-force conditions that were destroying the racing fleet.
The heroes of this story are undoubtedly those rescuers. The Royal Air Force and Royal Navy Sea King helicopter crews flew sortie after sortie into the heart of the storm. In total darkness, with winds threatening to push them into the sea, they winched 136 people to safety from the pitching, broken decks of their yachts.
The lifeboat crews were just as courageous. They'd go out in their vessels, which seemed tiny against those waves, and spend 20, 30, even 40 hours at sea, finding boats, taking survivors aboard, and towing crippled yachts back to shore. It was an international, coordinated effort of immense bravery.
But despite their incredible efforts, the storm's toll was devastating. When the winds finally subsided and the full picture emerged, the numbers were grim. Of the 303 yachts that started, only 86 managed to complete the race.
75 boats capsized, 24 were abandoned, with 5 of them sinking and presumed lost forever. And most tragically, there was the human cost.
15 yachtsmen lost their lives. And in a testament to the danger of the rescue itself, 4 rescuers also perished. 3 from the crew of a private tugboat that was assisting, and 1 from the RAF's Wessex helicopter crew. A total of 19 lives were lost to the storm.
There's an interesting and perhaps telling detail about the winner of the race. The yacht that finished first was Tenacious, owned and skippered by the American media mogul Ted Turner. Tenacious was a larger, heavier, and exceptionally well-prepared vessel. Turner and his experienced crew had anticipated heavy weather and were ready for it. They weathered the storm and sailed to victory, but even Turner was shaken, calling it a war with the sea.
The aftermath of the race was a period of deep soul-searching for the entire sailing community. It wasn't enough to just mourn the dead. They had to understand why it happened. This led to the Fastnet race inquiry.
And this is really the core of our story today, the expand your mind moment. The inquiry produced a detailed report that led to sweeping changes in sailing safety and boat design. It was a painful lesson, but one that has saved countless lives since.
So what were the key findings? Firstly, boat design. The inquiry found that the modern, light, beamy boat designs of the IOR racing rule were more susceptible to capsize and less likely to self-right than older, heavier, narrow-hulled boats. This led to a fundamental rethink in how racing yachts are designed for stability.
They also looked at equipment. The report highlighted major failings in life rafts, safety harnesses, and storm sails. This led to new international standards for more robust, more reliable safety gear. They also emphasized the importance of having proper storm jibs and trysails, small, heavy-duty sails for extreme weather, and knowing how to use them.
Crew experience was another factor. The race had very few barriers to entry, meaning some less experienced crews were on boats not prepared for what they faced. After 1979, the race organizers implemented much stricter qualification requirements for both the skippers and the yachts themselves.
And finally, a huge lesson was learned in weather forecasting. The weather bomb caught everyone by surprise. The disaster spurred investment in better meteorological modeling, more weather buoys, and satellite technology, vastly improving the accuracy and dissemination of marine forecasts.
So the legacy of the 1979 Fastnet race is a dual one. It's a memorial to the 19 people who lost their lives and a powerful reminder of the raw, unpredictable power of the ocean.
It's also a story of resilience and progress. It forced a generation of sailors, designers, and organizers to confront hard truths. The tragedy became a catalyst for change, making a dangerous sport significantly safer for everyone who participates today. Every modern sailor who clips on a better designed harness or trusts a more accurate weather report owes a debt to the lessons learned in that terrible storm.
It's a profound example of how we can learn from catastrophe, expanding our knowledge and our ability to survive in the face of nature's might.
That's all the time we have for today on Expand Your Mind. We hope this story has given you something to reflect on.
Join us next time as we explore another fascinating topic. Until then, stay curious.